Good morning. Today I wanted to make a video on how content creation is not easy. Anyone who thinks that either makes trash content or lacks substance, in my opinion. This is one of the most competitive fields in the world for young people, and for every Mr. Beast there's hundreds of thousands of people that just give up because it gets a little bit tricky. And that's fine, but I am just so tired of people bullshitting themselves. It's okay that this isn't for everyone. To stick with the example of Mr. Beast, he has so much discipline, and so many people are just bullshitting themselves and saying like, I want to be a big creator, and doing literally nothing about it. Either make the videos or stop saying that you will. Oh, I don't have time to film. What's your screen time? What's that looking like? You simply do not want it bad enough. Intention without action is literally nothing. I have spoken to hundreds of creators, if not thousands at this point, while growing my personal brand. And you can tell when someone has it versus when they do not. It's in their eyes for me. I don't know how to explain it. My business partner who refers to people who don't have the thing in their eyes as NGMI, or not going to make it. You do not want to be NGMI, because content at the start is so self-driven. You ideate, you storyboard, you script, you film, you edit. That's all you. So instead of my normal content on how not to suck at content creation, I wanted to make a video on how not to suck in general, because 95% of my success comes from my routine and not just my outputs. And whenever I fall out of my routine, everything just goes to shit. So here's what we're gonna go through today, in this order. First is fixing your schedule. And if I hear one more person say they generally don't have time, I'm going to come through the screen and strangle them like this. Because you do have a time. You are just spending it on the wrong things. Secondly is how to fix your dopamine so you can actually do work. No, doom scrolling is not content research. You're bullshitting yourself. That is overconsumption, and you're being lazy and just not making anything. And third is my actual routine that supports my content creation as a full-time founder, pulling 70 to 80-hour weeks. And keep in mind, I am not some special snowflake. The doctors told my mom I probably had ADHD as a kid, and she was like, he'll figure it out. That's a true story. So if my unfocusing ass can focus, I promise you yours can too. And I struggle with self-doubt all the time, and there's some days I feel like just going and getting a job, doing literally anything else. It is my true belief that everything you want is behind the hard work you don't want to do. So part one is understanding that your schedule is not actually busy. Now obviously it may actually be. Like for me, I have 25 to 30 hour calls per week on average, which means functionally a day of my week is taken up. So I consider I only have 6 days in my week. However, with my 6-day week, I still have time to go to the gym. I still have time to make content. I still have time to watch movies and have hobbies. With that being said, I am still considered what people call time poor. Time is limited. It's the only non-renewable resource, which makes it very, 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 very valuable. And as a duty to the universe, I need to pursue every single moment of this precious time that I'm giving, pursuing my purpose and bettering myself. And I know people don't talk like this, but if you want it, that is what you need to fucking do. I mean, people are gonna call you crazy. Like I'm out here in below freezing temperatures making a YouTube video. Like, come on. You're gonna lose people you love, they're not gonna understand it. But every time you feel shit, just focus on the mission. 95% of accountability is just focusing on the mission and understanding that, while it may suck right now, if you do anything for a long enough time, something is going to come out of it. Obviously, the thing you're doing for a long enough time is a worthwhile endeavor. For me, I was an anxious stoner piece of shit for a while. Only bad things came out of that. So instead, I switched to not doing that, and only good things have come out of doing that. And I'm dead serious here. This is not some bullshit YouTube slop. And my guess is if you're watching this video right now, you're probably not doing that. So how do we find out what you are doing and replace the garbage with meaningful things? Well, first we start with a time study. The only way to get time back is to know where it's going. It's the same thing if you were overspending your money. You would want to do some accounting and figure out where all the money that you have is going. People are like, oh, I don't have any money, but you're also spending who knows how much on like drinks when you go out every weekend. That's an extra like $500 or $600 sometimes. And it's gonna be a task, but you're going to get your time back. So tomorrow, from when you wake up to when you go to bed, every 15 minutes, you need to be tracking exactly what you do. So for me this morning, it was 6:30, woke up, drank electrolytes, walked outside with the camera, sat down on some random ass sidewalk, and started to film. And go through your normal routine. Don't lie to yourself here. Don't start the time study when you already try to be locked in, and then it's inaccurate to how you're actually living your life. And I would put money that you find around 2 hours of wasted time. And over the week, that's 14 hours. And you say you didn't have time. And you know what I'm gonna get you to do with these 14 hours? Yeah, go make some fucking videos, buddy. And while we're here organizing your time, we're gonna fix the other terrible, awful bits of your schedule as well. The studies show that organizing your life in general can add like 15 hours back to your week. So throughout this process, we're getting around 30 hours back. That's a day. That's the day that I lost. Now my mandates are 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Because you're pushing yourself, your brain is going to be cooked if you don't let it rest. That is how you burn out fast. So this is a non-negotiable. You put this into your schedule. And a little bonus tip for all the crazy people out here, if you limit meals to 15 minutes, you save another 3 hours per week. And also fasting 2 to 3 times per week does help with your cognitive function, so And then in terms of how you're working, do work in 90-minute blocks with 15-minute breaks. But in these 15-minute breaks, we are not going on our phone and doom scrolling and doing all this garbage. Instead, we are reading books and improving our knowledge base. I didn't read for a really long time, and now that I've started reading, it has literally changed my life. There's a lot of knowledge in there. There's a lot of like good little tidbits in those books. It's just such a better way to improve your time. So what you notice is that I have described these things in blocks. This is the concept of time blocking. So for me, it'll be going through your schedule, looking at non-negotiables, my calls or other obligations where I have to be there, and then fitting all my work blocks and the other things of content into there so that I'm able to understand what I need to be doing and exactly when I need to be doing it. Because it's a lot easier to kick yourself if you know you have something to be doing. And keep in mind, burnout is real, but I also don't like when people do work for like a week and they're like, man, I'm just so burnt out. I don't know if I keep going. Buddy, we have not even started yet. My favorite analogy I've ever been told, and thank you Jordan for this, as all things, is like a rubber band. So you keep stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching until you're just about to break, right? And when you're at this really high tension point, that's when you would rest. That's when you go watch a movie. That's when you go to dinner with some friends. Do a productive rest session. This does not mean go and get wasted on like a Friday night. This means to, relax in some way, but in a productive way. And then, the more you keep getting this action, the more you'll get used to it, the more you'll notice when you're starting to get tired and starts to feel like, doing other things that are bad for you. And it's really easy to maintain this nice ebb and flow of production. Now, when it comes to time blocking in general, and especially time blocking for content, whenever you denote a task to do, pick the task and then do it with extreme urgency. I was listening to a podcast on Elon Musk, and regardless of how you feel about him, that man gets shit done, right? And he said that one of his biggest factors that allow him to get shit done so much is the fact that he is extremely urgent. Everything he does is with extreme urgency. Like his team will be like, Elon, we need 14 days to make this rocket. And he's like, nah, you got 6 hours. Figure this shit out. And his team, they find a way and they get stuff done a lot quicker. So I've taken that sense of urgency into what I've been doing, and it's been working very, 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 very well. Instead of like, oh, I'll get around to it when I have time. I'm like, no, what if I just did this shit now and then I didn't have to do it later? So like, give yourself strict deadlines on things. The typical split I use when I'm putting things into my calendar is 1 hour of research and ideation, 2 hours of scripting, 3 hours of filming, and 8 hours of editing. That's the 14 hours throughout the week, and that's a pretty manageable amount for anyone starting out, in my opinion. And also, again, that's the bare minimum. The goal is to do more than this. Alex Hormozi, who was like the busiest business guy in the whole wide world, spends 2 whole days of his week on content because of how important it is. Then this brings us into our next section, which is fixing your dopamine. And I can give people 14 hours back of time to work, and they can't even focus because of how decimated their dopamine receptors are. And if you're someone who is cooked, for lack of a better term, it actually is a quite easy fix. Like, I went from drinking and smoking almost every day to 6 a.m. runs and weightlifting and not feeling terrible about myself all the time. And I'm gonna get serious here for a second. You and I both know whenever you stray away from the mission, you start to feel bad, right? And for me, I had strayed from the mission so hard and I felt so guilty because of this. And it felt like all of that dark, bad energy, and I'm so genuine here, had manifested into like a demon that would watch me at night. I had the constant feeling of being watched, and I low-key felt like I was going crazy. And that feeling only went away. I stopped bullshitting myself and actually began to pursue my greater purpose and higher being. And the first step of that was destroying my phone addiction. We need to wipe this devil box clean. So the first thing is having your phone in grayscale. This is known to reduce screen time in general by 30% because your little monkey brain is not like, ooh, colors. The goal of fixing your phone is to make your phone boring to use. However, as a creator, I understand that we need socials. So everyone who's like, delete the apps, like that doesn't really apply to us. This is where Opal comes in. I'm not sponsored, but I have an affiliate link that gives you a free month of Pro. I'll put that in the description, but also the free version is bang as well. This lets us block all the apps that waste our time. I typically set mine from like 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. So if I really need to use YouTube or whatever, it's only after I've done all the work and my brain is fried. And it's way better at blocking app as opposed to Apple's terrible screen time. Whenever we do need to do something on these apps, all we have to do is pause the focus session, do the thing on the app, and then it blocks itself again and you're not distracted and don't go on a tangent or whatever. So whenever you start it's so cool. So whenever you start this focused, locked in, not sucking, no monkey brain journey, it's gonna take you about 3 days for your brain to focus up. In this time, and in general, you need to be forcing yourself to be bored. We live in an age of abundance where literally everything is programmed to distract us. If you can teach yourself to be bored and be okay with that and sit with your thoughts for a second, because you probably have some stuff to think out anyways, you're going to be so far ahead. Like for me, I don't listen to music in the gym, and also meditation. This one's more practical and like sitting there and actually taking some time to be mindful and understand what's going on in your brain. But like, torture yourself a little bit, make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not taking my hands on my jacket. So your brain's dopamine baseline is lower. And then whenever you do something that's kind of stimulating, like work, your brain's like, oh my God, thank you for doing something. This is so fun. And that's how you kind of trick your brain into craving to do more work or some stimulation, but it's not, the goy slop that you consume on your phone. And this kind of plays into a book, The Artist's Way. But essentially, ideas flow to us in this state of boredom. Think about if you're trying to find your friend in a busy party atmosphere, there's a whole bunch of shit going on, versus if you're trying to find your friend and it's just you and him in the room. It's gonna be so much easier just to walk up to him if there's not all this gunk in the way. And then step 3 is creating a distraction-free work environment. Once you're detoxed from your addiction, you need to be working in spaces that allow you to continue to focus. I was talking to my boy who's probably watching this, and he's starting his locked-in journey, but he currently is in college living in a frat house, which is probably the like most unlocked-in place you could be. And he was like, man, like people just keep coming to my house and being loud and shit. And I was like, leave. Like, I know it's kind of inconvenient. For him, I told him to literally lock the door, get some earplugs, put noise-proof headphones on. And I told him his frat brothers, and most people, whenever you're telling them you have something important to do, they're gonna respect that and let you do it. Like, even if they're like, oh bro, you don't want to go play beer pong at 6 in the morning? Yeah, like, dude, like, no, I have like a couple of things to do. And this is gonna be different for everyone, but it is best to work in isolation. While co-working is fun and working on projects with people is fun, in terms of doing deep work, you want minimal distractions. And honestly, like, that might just mean putting your phone out of arm's reach. You would be surprised what your brain can do if it does not see the little devil box looking at you. It's like, pick me up. Okay, and with all of the bases set, now we just need to live like we want it. And I'm gonna walk you through my actual routine. Okay, so here's what an average day looks like for me. So I'm waking up at about 6:30. The exact time does not matter here. The thing for me is that most of my work, like calls and stuff, starts at around 9 or 10. So I want to be able to do things prior to that to kind of, you know, get started rather than just like rolling out of bed and hopping on a call. And if you are going on your phone in the first hour of your day, good luck literally doing anything. When your brain wakes up, it is at baseline of 0. And everything you do throughout the day with dopamine kind of compounds. So say you're waking up, you're going instantly on your phone, you're doom scrolling for an hour. Everything that is not that big spike of dopamine in the morning is going to feel boring to you and you're not gonna be able to do it. So if you're doing that in the morning when you wake up, think about how fucking hard it's going to be to sit down and do work for 8 hours. It's near impossible. You're setting yourself up for failure. So instead, when I wake up, I go and I drink my, what I like to call life elixir, and I read my book. And what I mean by life elixir is literally just this drink that it consists of apple cider vinegar, creatine, and electrolytes. You'd be surprised how good being hydrated is for you. Who knew? If you drink this before your coffee in the mornings, you are literally putting yourself ahead of so many people, because think about who you know that like regularly takes electrolytes. No one is fucking hydrated. And I like to start the day with movement, so either I go on a run like I'm about to go on after this video, or I go to the gym, and again with no headphones, and just, you know, get my body, get active. I will listen to like an audiobook or a podcast on a run. Sue me. Give yourself time to sit with your thoughts. It's really important. And after 7:30, I'll get back, grab some coffee, and don't be muddling up your coffee with a bunch of gunk. Like, if you want some sugar-free creamer without some seed oils, sure, that's fine. I know black coffee doesn't taste very good, and like it's you want caffeine. But if you're putting like cinnamon hazel slop in your coffee, don't even drink it at that point. There's literally no benefit. You're spiking your sugar, and then the entire day is just a uphill battle. So either at that time or at 10 a.m. I'll have my first meal. And that is mad important. If you eat like trash, you are going to feel like trash. So simply do not eat like trash. I can tell you off the top of my head exactly what foods I've eaten for the last month. It has been, and I'm not bullshitting here, I've only eaten eggs, toast, avocado, dates, frozen fruit, yogurt, specifically Oikos 000, raw honey, granola, beef, cheese, tortillas. Okay, and then once a month I have a pizza and wings night with my grandma. Because hell yeah. But 29 days out of 30, I am eating extremely clean. And on those pizza days, you bet your ass I fall right asleep because I feel so tired and terrible. And there is a balance. If you want to have a cookie every now and again, you're not going to die. But you need to have sustained energy if you're working for the entire day. But the most important thing is fuel, but good fuel. And if you're going to the gym anyway, why would you ruin in the kitchen? Like, save the hour of going to the gym if you're going to come back and eat like 8,000 calories. And then from 10:30 to 4, that's a work block. This could be calls, this could be doing content stuff. Remember, we already time blocked it out in the previous section. And then around 4 p.m. I get hungry and have a little midday snack. I'm a big yogurt bowl guy. And then from 4:10 to around 8 p.m. is my second work block. And again, I'm using, 90 minutes on, 15 minutes of reading, or getting up, walking around for a second. At 8 p.m. I have my dinner, which is typically a beef burrito. I think I eat more burritos than literally anyone. I'm going for the world record this year. And I continue to work until I'm like falling asleep. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's time to call it wraps. And honestly, around 8 or 9, or sometimes even early in the morning, I'll have blue light glasses on. That stuff is bad for you. It really just demolishes your sleep. So make sure you're getting a good pair. There are a lot of pairs out there that are scams, so really make sure you're doing your research on like a good pair of blue light glasses, but also don't be spending like $100 on them. That is ridiculous. And then as I meander to bed, I put my phone on my desk. So in the morning, I have to get up and walk over to it, and I can't just like snooze and then go back to bed, because man, and I don't want to do it half the time. Like this morning when I woke up, I wasn't super amped to sit on cold concrete and yap to the camera. I'm amped now, but like in the morning, truly nothing is super enticing. And then at 10:30 is the most important thing that I do every day, and that is journaling. And in terms of improving myself and getting better, like this is my bread and butter. This is what actually moves the needle. And I'll use myself as my own example. Say you were me and you wanted to get sober, which by the way, you need to be. High performers are not diluting their soul with drugs, and they're not making themselves stupid with alcohol. But it's hard if you've been doing this stuff for years. So yourself would identify as a drug and alcohol addict. So even if you quit cold turkey, were doing all the right things to start making progress, whenever it got hard, you would divert back to this baseline of being a drug and alcohol addict. You'd fall into old habits, and you'd be in this constant cycle of trying to get better, wanting to pursue a greater passion, but you're just like kind of stuck identifying as your old self. And so instead you need to bring this baseline up and simply be sober. You were never an addict. You never drank before. You're sober now, always have been, and will continue to be. And that's the same thing for a lot of stuff. Instead of like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this. No, you are this, and this is where you are now. You've always been that way. Self-visualization becomes self-actualization. The book Psycho-Cybernetics talks a lot about that. I'd recommend reading it if you are a chud. I know a lot of people are like, well, what do I even journal about? So I literally have a template so you have genuinely no excuse. It will take you 5 minutes per day. Please, for the love of fuck, do this. So first, I start with the summary of my day and the thoughts that I'm having. You want to call out yourself here and dig deeper. For example, it's like, I wanted to smoke today when X happened. Why? Why did I want to do that? What does weed actually do? That is a dumb thought and it's not going to help me fulfill my purpose. Instead, I'm going to do why. Literally, like, really break down your psyche, understand what your triggers are, why you have the tendency to do the bad things that are self-destructive. You want to break down literally every single thought you have. And it doesn't always have to be negative too. It's like, I had a really good sales call today. Why? You can also dissect the positive as well. And then the winning streak. And essentially this is a compound effect of when you notice how much you're winning, you continue to win. People who just consider themselves winners are literally more likely to win. Like self-actualization. So anything that you consider to win, for me, it's like if I closed a sales deal or, you know, I posted a sick piece of video, like my biggest highlight of the day, because a lot of people just don't count their blessings. And after that is the pros and the cons. The pros list should be longer than the cons list. And a perfect day could be considered with no cons, but you really want to be hard on yourself here. So like pros could be like worked out, ate really healthy, but a con could be like forgot to read or, you know, didn't meditate today. And eventually like you're going to be noticing what the things you're doing that are good versus the things what you're doing that are bad. And then the last thing is identity work. You want to be saying who you are in the future in present tense. So for me, it's like, I'm ripped. I'm one of the biggest creators in the world. I eat super healthy. I'm super confident. I'm a beacon of light for those around me. If you tell yourself these things enough times, your brain will eventually start to believe them and you will just continue to act as you are. So back to my example from before, instead of like, I'm trying to get sober, it's no, I am sober. I've always been sober. I don't even like drugs. I don't even like alcohol. Like all of these things. And then I read a bit and I go to bed. That's the routine. It is not glamorous. Sometimes I go play pickleball with my dad or I go on an errand. Like I still live. But like, you know, life is wonderful. The ability to fulfill your purpose is a gift. At the end of the day, you owe it to yourself to focus on the mission, not get distracted by stupid things. And if you are, just simply throw your phone across the room. Rid yourself of the distraction. This is what it takes. I want you to want it bad. I have all the resources in the world available to you for free to go make awesome content. I also have a free 3-day trial in my community where you can literally talk to me one-on-one and get curated help. It's there. It's literally at your fingertips. It's in the description of every single video. And with this routine and mindset, you will become someone to follow. People follow things that are moving, and an object in motion stays in fucking motion. So do this, you'll grow, you'll learn, you'll be awesome. And I am going to go inside because I'm cold. Peace. Well, actually, I'm going to go on a run and then I'm going to go inside. Peace again.